want to point out one thing. This bag, when I mentioned the evidence, literally almost 100% of this bag is just bottle samples for the crimes. Take this a moment. I carry this gigantic thing every day, which consists of nothing but the proof of the sheer amount of times that they proved narcotics or other drugs on me. Think for a second. It's just tons of bottles. That is not counting the ones that are deployed already, not counting the ones that were lost for some reason, not counting those that look like alcohol that were open, so I threw it away because there's no point. Now, something I'm gonna check inside. We saw the teenager throwing something inside my bag or trying to rupture it. I was not sure what it was. Now I'm feeling a weird smell coming from it. When you stop there in the bathroom, I'm gonna open up and film me and show what was the case. But you got to see him throwing that in video. So. It's kind of convenient to see so many parents down their children, small children, like almost toddlers, to do crimes, because then when you see things like this, you know that there's going to be some adult responsible, no matter what. Or, again, it's not a child, that was a teenager. Grown up enough to understand his crime. Jury exists for a reason. If children are completely unblamed for their crimes, then why jury? You punishing children for something that they'll do wrong? Or even something that don't work in that. As I said, I don't agree with trying children as adults. Again, as I said, I don't believe that tagging a movie gun. I think this is not, if this movie won that, I don't think people get angry and want that. They don't make it right. Try this thing smell. And open up that slowly in the bathroom. If there's no drugs, we'll try another bathroom. That's actually so expected they're going to go drugs. The front thing here, by the way. Again, not the spike. Oh, we'll talk about that. Let me see. That's the time to brush this up. Bag, it's just a bag, if it's just not roll down. Because then I don't need to come down here. But if I can lock this up, then I don't need to come down here anymore. That is too good to pass up. I'm going to check on something down there. But if they have it in the bag, it's depending entirely on my hand to stay in place. That ain't going to fly too good with it, is it? Yeah, thanks for coming. Oh, okay. Need help. We'll go down and come back. Let's take this back and we'll come back. Too many crimes, as I said. Too many stacked up crimes. Again, between literally the stacked up crimes all the way down to too many stacked up crimes. Between the stacked up crimes and the And the drug crimes they are finding there as of this moment. I have the guy taking the bus right next to me. I was passing that. Maybe it is a Everplace guy. Yeah, it's here, but by the time I get here, no one will remain there. Again, too many crimes. No? I don't know what the problem is. The problem is you stack a massive bag. The other problem is the bag underneath you standing. To stack everything, it needs to be horizontal. Or else the one in front rolls off. Which we can do, so long as we have the time to do it. So for important drugs in the air down there. I'll do that here. Doing a lot of drugs right here. Not so much there. What I was doing right in here. In fact, they stopped right in here. It probably was getting there. It's starting to get there. But I imagine it's filled in here. Someone pressing the button there. Is the door open? Better. Why are they doing that with the door open? We're gonna have to ask it. The door is unlocked. With the other criminal from the green shirt from over the place they said there's so many times about leaving passing that exact thing. and then stop into it and again, lots of soft hooks in here, notice by my slow speech, eyes, other things you can use to see the effects of it. So yes, in the same day of all the regulations, I'm going to check on them if it's on anything to talk to that. Again, as I said, sitting home, I don't want to be told you because I'm in the dictator movie. But for what it's worth, having a comfortable afternoon is not going to end this crime. This one is crime. You will end this crime. So, you take a look at the criminals. They'll all be telling us. I don't know this already in the past year. So it's dangerous in here. I don't know. Let's do a speed run. Speed run in the female bathroom. By the way, just curious, what do you think about the criminal that using the bathroom if the door locked? Well, one thing I'm sure, he was not expecting to notice the door was unlocked, but he was using the sink, right? I know what you can do. You can use at the time when I was saying that I was using the sink. Just going to try to break into that. I suppose if it was an argument for me, you should have got a whole argument for the war criminals, right? Let's go and keep on trying to do that one. By the way, for the record, this has been interrupted, not by me. I don't know if I paused. I don't think I did. But I did pause the video. I think I did. I'm just saying. Yeah, the one thing, is a woman talking to a child, so presumably the criminal that was all open was a child inside. Let your imagination flow on that. Yes, actually no. Fuck that. I want you to look in my eyes and I say this. Yes, it's very likely the criminal over there that was using the bathroom with the door locked had a child inside. Now, I mean, female voice telling a small thing that did this on this door. Come. Stands to believe the child was leaving, trying to mess this door. Mom said, come. There's nothing else in here. It's just the two bathrooms. The other one's occupied. There's this one. By the way, if you're a female using a bathroom, would you use the word child? Would you use the female or the male dress? find the knife. She had absolutely nothing to eat, just, you know. I know I did eat some bread. I had some bread and butter so far because of that knife. Not to mention the crime, pointing the crime. That crime. Oh, I experienced that crime. She cannot find the knife in here this morning. I have to use someone else's knife then. I'm gonna stab myself in the process. Again. Oh yeah, and they're continue to throw. Probably not the ones to look at me. If I already changed the phone, but I'm not going to stay here for now. You got the microphone point and the criminal stand as well. As of this point right now, still experiencing, where's the other one? As of right now, still experiencing their torture drugs. They're still throwing them, and this is how the torture drugs function, particularly used little. If you use in massive dosages instantaneously, it comes in their own ways. But with the amount they're using now, by the way, every reference to hair is a reference to that. This. Okay. Every reference you see them doing of hair, there's very people here that since you ever wanted so much noise. Referencing that. Okay. Also, they should be caught at one in particular, which should be the ones that attract more amount of interaction. So people, particularly through the internet, after you see the war crimes, especially true crimes like today, with the torture drugs. So here's how the torture drugs work. In massive dosages, they're trying to take me down, make it stop functioning, so then using that at certain specific times. But we understand, though, they are noticeable by everybody. And this is simple. They don't use it all that often. And since they have the compassion of the demon, we'd imagine that the reason for that is probably strategic. In other words, they are not that creative, right? I think it's compared with the morning. Yeah, because during the morning it was not being actively tortured. And that's the point. The purpose of those releases is to have something that's steady, that's the other effect. Yeah, it's a very huge taxing point on me. And right now, as I said, after being alone and abused, I cannot find my fucking shirt. Just didn't have time to organize myself. It's time of time all the time. You know, flip everything around. You think cannot stop rolling. You don't push anything, you don't pull anything, you don't do anything. But there's too many times. And they drug me every day. The difference between the normal drug days, the torture days, like today, because today the individuals whose faces you're about to see are doing that with the intent, and I want to say that very clear so both ones can get very clear capture. The criminals you're about to see are throwing something to actively cause me pain as you see them. So everyone you see is either the one doing it or someone also experiencing it. You can only be one of the two. Because as established, this thing doesn't linger on you. It goes away the second you go away. So you know how I discovered that? I went to a place and they were not. I entered several places. So long as I didn't predict in advance that I was going, I've won. The same place where the green shirt you see, one of those places was there. Do you really think that on a torture day, the place where you see all these little shits everywhere, they wouldn't have placed something there? They didn't expect me to go there. And because I went there, I noticed that there was absolutely nothing. My headache, the pain, the anguish, everything disappeared instantaneously. Not quite instantaneously, some very quickly linger over. Literally the time span of less than 10 seconds. Now, of course, a couple minutes later, it was all over the place. So, that's accusation. Most of those bottles there, you're going to see a lot of narcotics and a lot of other things that we see on hold. Or pretty much always in front of cameras. But for both of days, there'll be this kind of specific thing. As I said, there's food hurting me every day. On differences on positive days, that drugs are designed to be what we call, to constantly cause pain. They don't do much else, but actually they do the pain. As I was going to describe, apart from causing actual pain, is a lingering pain, and the pain that disappears the second you move away from the place and they're throwing this thing. The point is, with those things, and you do that well enough, they're being throwing bursts of that occasionally. It hits, disappears. My behavior throughout every single time has been to document the release as it was happening. Document the release as it was happening, and then proceed to record everything else. Once I consider a change of path in relation to this crime. In the morning, they did a timely release when you have, sometimes you have some weird smell in the air, sometimes you have absolutely nothing in the air, sometimes that will be the female, I guess. There are references inside the bus, because it's ahead of me, as you saw, and somehow it's still ahead of me now. I don't know what path would you have to be on this side if you leave ahead of me as I was leaving the bathroom. But I can see some, you can judge if you can see someone walking in front of you or not. After, it has been enough of them. Let's just say, of the dozens of thousands of videos, there's been enough people walking in front of you for it to be able to catch on.
That whole thing.
Climbing up there when it's getting close to the sort of so I catch another release. Not in better shape. Not in better chair, but it's very uncomfortable being behind. Just that kind of stuff. Really hold it. As I said, great strap. Not that I don't even bother with morality anymore, they have no such thing. But I should tell you. Yes, very clear. Since there was this time of preaching in my bag, I took a little check. Nothing was damaged. There'll be a truth. Sold. Yeah, let's see. Not that I'll be able to stomp, that's simply because I would be able to comment on. You know what? Stop now.